Sources tell the insiders that the Buffalo Bills have fired Sean McDermott, the Buffalo Bills head coach. It is not exciting news. It is unfortunate news. There is a meeting right now. Search.
Yeah, rap sheet, by our tally, because Kevin Stefanski has gone to the Falcons and John Harbaugh to the Giants, it was at 7. Now that makes it 8 vacancies, and another team has entered the conversation, and the carousel that we know.
And listen, I want to stop you right there. An incredible opening.
An incredible opening.
And look, for Sean McDermott, and I've talked about this on TV, you know, multiple times, there's a lot of things that people don't deserve. Sean McDermott is an excellent coach, made the Bills one of the more respectable franchises. Him and Brandon Beane, that team, have certainly delivered. Sometimes a new voice is necessary. Sometimes a new voice is needed. You have Josh Allen. You have an excellent group of skill guys. You have a great defense. This is an absolutely premium opening. Once again, Sean McDermott out as head coach of the Buffalo Bills.
Ian Rapoport, thank you so much. Get back to us as more things develop in Western New York. Kyle, we just did the highlight. The Bills lost to the Broncos in overtime in Denver. They go back to Buffalo, and now Brandon Beane and the Pagulas make this decision to release Sean McDermott from his job. What are you thinking? I
think it's jarring, but I'm not terribly surprised. I'm not. And I can't say another word until I say I have so much respect for Sean McDermott as the man, as the coach, and his family. He's been a huge part of Good Morning Football. More importantly, I remember the nuclear winter in Buffalo before Sean McDermott showed up, and they never made the playoffs, and they were always a laughingstock. And he deserves huge respect, and I love Sean, and I don't like that this news here. And so does he. You only get so many cracks. And I have a feeling, knowing Sean McDermott in the distant way that I do, when Mike McCarthy was fired from the Packers, but Josh Allen is younger than Rodgers was. So we've just been sitting here for coach the Bills. Do the Bills want Mike Tomlin? Because you will immediately have a Super Bowl shot. Immediately, in year one. There's no building, there's no anything. If you have 17 and you go to Buffalo, you will have a shot to do the thing. Also, and I'll finish, if you go to Buffalo and you win a Super Bowl, you are an all-time legend for the rest of history. It is not like winning anywhere else. It is an all-time opportunity. The quarterback, the market to make history. You're immortal, and it's open. Jobs like this do not come. This is not the Falcons' job. This is not the Cardinals. It's not any of the jobs. This is the job right now if you want to win a Super Bowl, and it's wide open. It's incredible.
KB, I need your help on this one because you just mentioned that Josh Allen is the best player in this league, and I fully agree with that. And the reason why I'm asking your assistance is it reminds me of the narrative when Michael Jordan was in there, right, with the Chicago Bulls. And when he first got to the Bulls, they weren't winning, and there were some cultural changes that needed to happen. And then they hire Phil Jackson, and then that's when they start winning all of these championships. You mentioned Mike Tomlin. Is Mike Tomlin, to you, one of those guys? Because we know Mike Tomlin's history, we know what he's been able to do as a head coach. I think when you're talking about the Buffalo Bills, you have the best player in football. You don't necessarily have the best team in football. That's something that's also out of Sean McDermott's wheelhouse as far as structuring the team, but bringing in somebody like a Mike Tomlin, do you see him having that type of effect that Phil Jackson had with Michael Jordan?
Well, you're talking about Doug Collins was initially Jordan's coach, and then Phil, who was on Doug Collins' staff, was promoted after Doug was let go. About team building, Brandon Beane, I don't know what the future is. Are they keeping him?
Right.
We'll stay posted to Ian and the insiders. Is he staying on? With McDermott gone, that would be unusual. We also, the Bills haven't hired a coach in so long. So, you know, Joe Brady is a guy who's out there, who's interesting. Like, would they promote? Does Allen want him to become the head coach? Or do they take, because listen, Harbaugh's gone. The Tomlin thing to me, I just keeps coming back. You could hire some young offensive guy who's out there, but if you're going for the best there possibly is, to hire Mike, the confluence of the Bills fire their coach and the Steelers fire their coach at the same time is unbelievably improbable. Yet here we are. I need to know the future of Beane, and I need to know what they're looking for in a head coach. But I'm still jarred by this because a player of Josh Allen's caliber is so rare after being in the playoffs, not some random 6-11 season where it didn't work out. And I also have to say again, like, this is harsh. And I respect what the Bills are doing because they're saying this is not good enough and we're not just going to run it back next year. What do you think, Rashad?
Well, I think it's a tough situation, man. You have the MVP of the league. You have a situation where it's a controversial play. We know if that's a catch. We know if they get out of there with a win, We understand he's still the coach. So now those tears, you know, when you look at Josh Allen, he said, man, I really let my team down. And those emotions from the locker room, like, those tears are still crying right now in Buffalo. And so I hopefully they'll get a good coach in. I really want to see Josh Allen playing in the Super Bowl.
This is interesting than what you're saying, because, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, the Ravens missed that kick, and if they would have made it, they would have kept John Harbaugh. For a while. I don't think that kick kept John Harbaugh's job. I think if they lose the next week, if the Bills win this game and then lose to Denver, are they still making this decision? Probably. But if they will in that game, are they losing to Jarrett Stidham? I don't know. There's all kinds of ripple effects.
Crazy development here. As we just mentioned, Ian Rapoport broke the news here on GMFB that the Bills have decided to release Sean McDermott after 9 seasons in Western New York. He was hired back in 2017. He led the Bills to 5 AFC East division titles, 8 playoff appearances in his 9 seasons. He loses in overtime. The team loses in overtime, 33-30 in Denver. They take the flight home. The Pagula family, Brandon Beane, they have just met with Sean McDermott, as the insiders revealed, and after a divisional round loss, the Bills are now looking for a new head coach. We're going to keep talking about this here on Good Morning. This game at the start of last hour, and we talked about the Rams. They're going to go on and play the Seahawks again, and we got 4 more days of GMFB to do that, but let's focus on Caleb Williams. The Bears are going to arrive back at Hallis Hall today, clean out lockers. Guys will have media availability. But it was an incredible play time and time again. But then you get to overtime, Kyle. And he's got 2 options. They're all covered. He throws this ball. You said last hour that you felt like in that moment you could have maybe been a little bit more careful and not careless. How do you assess it on the scale?
Yeah, I guess in that sense, it was like there's time to manage the game and there's time to go win it. It's really philosophical. Caleb lets it rip. That's what he does. I just think in that moment, you're about 15 yards from getting a game world. And then you watch the Bears and you're like, oh my God, Caleb is talented. He's the most talented person out there. I think he has the strongest arm in the league. I've said that for a few weeks now. We saw it on that throw. I think he's the best scrambler in football right now. But it's just a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
And it's like you're in a Ferrari that the guy doesn't quite know how to drive. You know what I mean? Maybe the better comparison would be when you watch Caleb. Have you ever been in an Uber where the driver is a little nuts and you're in the back and you're like, dude, slow down a little bit. Like, we'll get there, all right? Like, just get us there.
I don't need you to be like this.
Like, this guy's living his life a quarter mile at a time. Like, easy. Like, you're always a little uneasy whether you're a Bears fan or just watching the game. It's like, because it's always slightly nuts. And I think that he talked about this last night after the game. He needs to find a calm. I'm reminded of a young Josh Allen. I remember his first playoff game. It was absolutely insane against Houston, and he's laddering the ball and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a little bit there of this. And again, I'm not just saying the last pass. The last pass is more complicated with a quarterback and a wide receiver, but I think Caleb's mission moving forward is not so much calm in his psyche, because he's always calm in his decision-making. You got to start completing some more passes. And in those moments, like, there's a time to win the game, and there's a time to get a base hit. And I think you don't always have to hit a 500-foot home run. I think that's what he's trying to hit on the last play.
Yeah, you know what? Watching him, when I watch Caleb Williams, I kind of think about a little bit of Aaron Rodgers, to the fact of this, that, I mean, Hail Marys, you just start to expect that Aaron Rodgers is going to make that play somehow. He's going to roll out of pocket. He's going to make a big play. He's going to will his team to some type of victory. And that's kind of how I felt cheering for Caleb Williams throughout the course of the season. But this game came down to turnovers, simply because, I mean, when you look at the stats, they beat him in time of possession, first downs, passing, and the Rams had 0. So it just comes down to protecting the ball in those kind of big situations. And, you know, but he back shoulders, he's throwing the ball off of his back foot quite often. He threw a touchdown to DJ Moore off of his back foot. He had that circus play, that Madden play off his back foot to commit. So he's doing things unorthodox that you can't teach and coach, and he showed a lot of people, to remind people why he was a first-round overall draft pick. But years to come, I think they got something to look forward to over there.
Well, I think it's just like it's now, though. You know, I think with Caleb Williams, it's now. I know he threw all of those picks, but there's something about Caleb Williams that I had a thought in my head as I was watching this game. Is it too late to put him in MVP consideration? Just how electric he is. When I watched the playoffs, the only other guy that I thought was as dangerous as him was Josh Allen with the ball in his hands. Like, there's no other quarterback that when he gets the ball, I am scared as a defender of, is he going to run? If he runs, he's dangerous. If he throws the ball, he's dangerous. If he scrambles around and throws the ball from his right to his left, he's dangerous. So when I watch Caleb, There was a feeling in my head when I was watching the Bears defense come alive, thinking that, man, if the Bears make it to the bowl, it's going to be scary. Nobody wants to play this Bears team with the special teams that they have. You know, anytime you kick the ball off or punt the ball, the thing is going to go at least 20 yards. And then defensively, that was the only question is, can they, for knowing what that man, number 18, Caleb Williams, can do with the ball in his hands, it puts you in an uncomfortable situation as a defender. So, again, coming out of the playoffs, I thought that Caleb Williams and Josh Allen were the two quarterbacks that you did not want to see late in the playoffs. So I know that we're all bummed to not see the Bears go on, but I know there's a lot of defenses that are like, yes, we don't have to worry about 18 scrambling and doing all of these circus throws.
It's an incredibly thrilling season to watch for the Chicago Bears. A lot of that had to do with Ben Johnson's arrival and taking over this offense and clearly getting Caleb Williams in a spot in which his quarterback can succeed. Kyle, many people are using the phrase today, Rashad even at the table last hour, you know, the Bears are playing with house money anyways. You know, they're 1 year ahead of schedule anyways. Do you find that patronizing for the Bears season as a whole, or are you, when you now put the season to bed, you're like, you know what, they did right by us?
I thought that going into the game, and I've said this, I think a lot of Bears fans, if you give them truth serum, would say last week was the Super Bowl and we won the Super Bowl. We beat the Packers. This is the gravy game. But you were in overtime at home and you have the ball and all you need is a field goal and you win. That's totally different deal. If they had lost this game and Stafford was just throwing dimes all over and Puka was unstoppable and they lost 27-19, great season. But this was right there. This is, you are one completion away from Cairo Santos sending you up to Seattle and who knows what's happening. And then the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. So I felt that way before the game. And people say, oh, it's cowardly. Oh, win the game. No. This was a gravy game for the Bears in season 1 of Ben Johnson until it wasn't, and then they kind of gave it away.
Whoever